Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my Storyteller Horoscope for you for March 2019. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, if you'd like to book a live reading. Also, if you love the way I teach astrology and want to learn, there may be some slots in my astrology apprenticeship program. You can see more about and order my book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days, which has now become an Amazon bestseller. So you can see more about that at anniehelpsyou.com or at radicalprayerbook.com. So for Cancer for March 2019, I'm calling the theme of the month, Your Destiny is Calling. There is a veritable trine fest this month. There's so much energy in water in the sky that's making all of these beautiful aspects to your Cancer placements. And I'm going to show you the charts and show you every juicy detail about how it can affect you, all the degrees, the birthdays, certain birthdays that are even more affected. So we're going to go into all of those details. But also I'm going to talk about something special that I haven't really done much talking about, which is the transiting North Node. The transiting North Node is a very special placement. I'm going to describe what it is and how we can utilize it in transit, but it's in Cancer. So it moved into Cancer in November 2018, so still somewhat recently. It's there through May 2020, and it's a very special time in the cycle when we have the transiting North Node in our own sign. So you have that now. So I'm going to talk in detail about what that means and what that can do for you, and it does very much have to do with your destiny. So I'm going to show you the visual charts with all the goodies now. Hello, Cancer friends. Okay, so now I'm going to give you the visuals of the highlights that I just discussed. And also I'll give you way more details about the things that I mentioned and more. So first, in order to go deeper, we have to determine where in the 30 degrees of Cancer you are. It's broken up into 3 sections. Early Cancer are pretty much the June born, okay? So those are the early degree placements, or 0 to 9 degrees. Middle degree Cancers are around July 1st through the 10th, or 10 to 19 degrees. And late degree Cancers are July 11th through the rest of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees. The reason why I say that these are approximate is because the sun does not move into Cancer on the same exact day every year. So that, shifts this a bit. But if you know your degrees, those will be right on, but the days can shift by a few days. But the one that you're closest to, the designation you're closest to will be the one that works best for you. So it's all good. All right, if you missed that, then please go back and make sure you know where you are so that I can just go to town here and then you can follow along. So the first thing that I want to talk about, and I'm going to use the late degree chart, but I'm talking about all Cancer placements. Right now I'm not talking about the house placements, and when I do, then I'll differentiate it out from early, middle, and late. But right now I'm talking about the relationships between certain placements, the mathematical angles, and so this is going to be true for all of you. So you Cancer placements are experiencing a trine fest of ultimate proportions. Trines are the most wonderful, harmonious, awesome aspects in all of astrology. The aspects in astrology all carry an energetic signature. And when the planets come together in these mathematical configurations, they have a certain energetic signature, and you can feel that. So a trine is just this sweetness, it's ease, it's grace, it's awesomeness. And so when there are planets in the sky in water signs, those water planets are trining your Cancer placements, and that is going on right now. You've got all of this in water, and it's all making trines. So if your birthday is basically the July born Cancers, all of the July born Cancers, will have one or more of these planets trining your placement, bringing awesomeness, sweetness, more of your true nature, more of who you are, more of who you want to be, the best parts of yourself out in wonderful ways. Getting in touch with yourself, getting in touch with what you're supposed to do, getting on track with your destiny. Those of you who are early born, so you June friends, you're not left out of this, because Venus looks like it's over here in Aquarius, which it is. But at the end of the month, it gets into Pisces. And it's going to, in this month, trine for all of you early ones. And then the rest of y'all will experience the Venus trine in April for that. So if you didn't watch my February report, then definitely go back to do that for Cancer, because I gave an awesome lesson about Venus as the personality of my grandma Marge and explained all of the beautiful things, aesthetics, harmony, sustenance, money, love, attention. So Venus trines are amazing. Every trine is amazing. So you all, every Cancer placement is going to have at least one and more coming, and possibly multiple this month of these trines. Those of you in the second half of the sign, so like from around July 5th or 6th through the rest of the sign, you're going to have multiple trines just from Mercury, because it already trined leading up to here in February. Then when it goes retrograde, it's going to trine again. Then when it goes direct, it's going to trine again. So for all of you between 16 and 21 degree Cancer placements, I mean, not 21, 29 degree Cancer placements, or, I say around July 6th, in the days around there through the rest of the sign, you're going to have multiple trines just for Mercury. So I love this time for things gelling for you. The fact that Mercury is in retrograde only means that we don't want to be assertive in a way that forces things. We don't want to have a certain agenda. But a ton of sweetness can come, and there's going to be a tilt to the past. Because Mercury retrograde happening while this is happening, means contacts from the past, options, opportunities from the past. If you have to launch something big that's never been launched before, you may want to hold off until into April when the stars are a little more clear for that. But if you have opportunities to try things on for short-term things, just to get your feet wet, things that come to you, you can definitely say yes to this month, anything that feels good. And there could be a lot of awesomeness there for you. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the arena that this Trine Fest is occurring for each of you. So we've got the late degree chart here. We can see the trines are occurring in the 8th to 9th house. Okay, so we have to talk about the energy that's going to be accentuated there. Then when we look at the middle degree, we can see that that's pretty much the 9th house. And then when we look at the early degree, that's also going to be the 9th, but some of the 10th house. So we have to add a little understanding of those houses to help you see how these things can manifest. First of all, remember that Pisces energy is very artistic. It's very much to do with the quiet, meditative, intuitive space, all that is psychology, hypnotherapy, metaphysical, from the perspective of everything being one, spiritual breakthrough, spiritual work, past life regression, things like that are definitely in order for everybody because Pisces energy brings that. But the houses show us where in our lives we're likely to see this energy, because as I described in my previous, and I've talked about this before, if you remember the game Clue, probably I'm dating myself now, you can know when Clue is a big thing. So Clue was a board game with basically a murder mystery. Like somebody did the deed with a certain weapon in a certain place. And the place is the house. That's the where it's going on. So all of you are going to have some energy of this Trine Fest in the 9th house, early, middle, and late. 9th house has to do with speaking, teaching, publishing, writing, getting out there, getting your work out there, being seen, educating yourself, educating other people, traveling, especially abroad, but it could be more local, different international business, different countries, different cultures, different languages, spiritual pursuits, working with churches, anything like that. All right, so all of you will have that. Early degree placements, we said that you have some of the 10th house action, which is career, work, your place out in the world. It can have to do with father figures or father energies or becoming an authority. Okay, work and career, extra special stuff for early. And then the late, you've got some of that energy manifesting in the 8th house, which are your deep, intimate relationships, also your relationships of financial connection, like debt, borrowing money, loaning money, capital investments, any investments, inheritances, family money, spousal money, and, winning money, anything like that. This is a mystery house. This is also a psychology house, and this is, more energy of kind of like that unseen realm. So there's just a lot of magic, a lot of synchronicity. It's a word that I definitely would use for this time. You may very likely see expanded synchronicity. Synchronicity, when those quote coincidences are just too much to be a coincidence. It's a lot of that beautiful energy this month. For all of you, for everybody, even every sign. But that 8th house has some extra of it there. Late degree placements. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, and this is something very exciting. Not everybody knows what the heck this thing is. But for the people who do, they always want to know more about it. And for me personally, this placement in the natal chart is the most important placement in the chart. This is your areas of highest expression in this lifetime. It's your dharmic energies. When we're looking at the North Node in transit, it has a very simple, easy explanation of what to look for. It shows you the areas of life to focus on to get on your track of your highest destiny. So this is true for everybody. Everybody can look to the energy of Cancer from November 2018 through May 2020. North Node is going to be in Cancer. So everything Cancerian, maternal energy, the divine feminine, creating a nest, being in a nest, helping other people to feel like they're in a nest, childhood psychology, things involving homes and real estate or home business, trying to work from home, anything that has to do with Cancer, feeling, emotion, internal focus, nostalgia, things like that. This is a key for everybody to get on their own personal highest track. But this is especially important for Cancer placements because in the time between November 2018 and May 2020, this transiting North Node is going to cross over your Cancer placement. So right now, the people whose birthdays are July 15th through the 20th, or like especially 22 to 27 degrees, are most being accentuated. Those of you with the very last few days of the sign, February, you are really getting this. And the rest of you, this is yet to come. But this is like a whisper, just like a mother whispering, come over here, come over this way. This is where your destiny is. Sometimes it's a quiet knowing where you're like, gosh, I feel this thing building inside of me. And if you try to articulate it, it could sound crazy to some people, but it's really more real than anything. So this welling up of doing what you're supposed to do, and getting a sense of what that is a theme between now and 2020. For everybody has a piece of it, but the Cancer placements, this is really, really huge. So, and July 15th through 20th, this month is like huge for you all, but the whispering is there for all of you, especially strong from the end of 2018 through all of 2020, just this whispering. It gets louder and louder and louder as it's, getting closer to your placement, saying, you have to do this. And then you look out for the synchronicities to say, all right, can't ignore this anymore. Okay, so these are the things that are on my mind for Cancer. Now I want to talk about my top general transits that you need to know for the month that will carry important lessons and opportunities for you. So I'm going to go into that now. So the general transits of March 2019 carry the energy of sudden changes amidst a quiet rest. March continues the trend that started in February of 2019 with more sweet aspects than challenging ones, which is very exciting. So this dreamy and creative Pisces energy is going to dominate the month of March. Then around the 20th, as the sun moves into Aries, the climate will change, the energy will change, but most of the month is covered in this quiet creativity after this push of the window that we had that opened at the end of December and went into the end of February, beginning of March. So it's a great time to experiment and work in the backdrop. Things from the past are very likely to come back. Blessings from the past, things you've done from the past, projects from the past, people from the past. There's a strong tilt with the retrograde energies. So Mercury will officially be in retrograde from March 5th through the 28th. Depending on your time zone, those dates could toggle a little bit. But the whole month, and even starting February 19th and going to April 17th, there's the retrograde transit, because there's a pre-transit shadow period and a post-transit shadow period when the energies are starting to shift. So it's a long transit. Making commitments to short-term arrangements could be perfectly fine, but just know that in general, the energy shows a shorter term agreement or a shorter term energy. So things that you do in this time, if you're intending them to be long term, they often wind up being shorter term than expected, or if they do make it into the long term, they get seriously called into question or have to change dramatically in order to be able to persevere. But for short term things, interim plans, things like that, it can be perfectly fine. It's great for trying on things, continuing with things you've already been doing, editing, anything like that. Also watch paperwork and other agreement details carefully, because Mercury ruling communication can interfere with the clarity of information that you get at this time, and things agreed to will likely be shifted, or you might not know all the information. Also, things involving transportation are more likely to come up. So problems with your car, trips, changes to plans, those are all common. But in general, the month has definitely more sweet aspects than challenging ones, and it's a very nice rest in between these push points. Okay, so once we start to get into April, it's going to be time to push again, and you'll start to feel that energy starting at the end of March, but it's going to brew and get stronger and more clear as we get into April. One of the twists, or the big twist this month, is amidst this smooth and introspective flow, Uranus is moving back into Taurus to stay until, years from now. So generally the transit is around 7 years. It popped in last year to Taurus and then it went out. And as you may recall, the energy as it popped in is or was instigating earthquakes and volcanic eruptions and wild weather that has still continued. Also, there have been a lot of things going on in the news that relate to the breakup of old systems and the solidity of intact systems that are getting disrupted. And Uranus moving through Taurus, this is very typical of that energy. So these kind of changes and disruptions and volatility probably will shift. So our relationship to the changes is what we get to have control over. So these changes to old systems can be a very welcome thing if things are stodgy and not working. But in the places where there's some security, sometimes that can be upset in these times. And this goes all the way down, starting at the global level, all the way down to the individual experience. So Uranus bringing changes there amidst this quiet time and beyond. In general, the the recommendation for this time is to keep your commitments as light as possible and as flexible as possible. You can certainly do things, but just know that things that are planned could get called into question. There could be shifts. They could still work out, but there's definitely a lot more of a kind of a last minute flowing, flexible energy that works well with this time. So I'm going to give you the days that there are sweet aspects. Do know that even if I give you a date that's supposed to have a sweet aspect, you can feel that aspect days before or days after. And some days have more than one aspect, with one of them being sweet and one of them being challenging. So you really just need to tune into your intuition with this awareness. The dates I'm going to give you, you can also find written, as well as explanations of all the aspects and what you can expect with them when you go to anniehelpsyou.com and sign up for my free email newsletter, then I send out a written version of this general report a month beforehand so that you have it to look at and make your plans and you can understand the energies at play. But in general, try not to stick too heavily to a certain date as being a certain way, because the carryover of the aspects can definitely, stretch over a period of time. So you just kind of have to feel your way through. Okay, so the dates with the sweet vibes: March 2nd, 6th, 8th, 9th, 13th, 14th, 17th, 20th, 27th, and 28th. And the ones to look out for a likelihood of stress and challenges and drama or overstimulation or general awkwardness: March 1st, 5th, 6th, 14th, 15th, 22nd, and 28th. So you can see there are less of those aspects that are more challenging. So I'm just going to hit a couple of other highlights here, some of the dates that are most calling out to me to discuss. The rest of them, like I said, you can sign up for the newsletter and you can see all of my aspects that I put on here for you in the newsletter. Okay, so on March 1st, it kind of starts out with a bang with an aspect with Venus and Uranus. So often that can bring jolts to love or money or your certainty or self-esteem. So just kind of look out for that. But there is another sweet aspect, or a sweet aspect the day after, that could kind of help to bring a happy outcome from that, or could soften the energy. The days around March 5th, Mercury actually goes retrograde, and there's more awkwardness around the days before and after it changes station. So, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, more awkwardness, more changes, just try to keep your scheduling light. One of the big days of the month is March 6th, the new moon at almost 16 degrees of Pisces, and this is also going to be conjunct Neptune, the Sun conjunct Neptune. So you can check out my blog if you go to Annie Helps You, or if you just search for Making Powerful New Moon Wishes in Pisces, you can find my blog that helps to guide you using that energy in the best way for creating the life of your dreams. But in general, this is an extremely dreamy and introspective month, and this moon is especially so because of that, because of the sign it's in and because of the Neptune aspect. But it's an artist's delight, and I really love this time for rest and retreat and rejuvenation, and being surrounded by inspiration, going to an inspiring place. Definitely watch your security all month, but this particular transit, things going on behind, your conscious knowing with internet or home or other security, just be on guard there. Okay, March 6th is the date that Uranus moves back into Taurus. Sometimes we see things happen to the date or very close to the date that are notable, although things have already been happening already since Uranus has been marching back towards Taurus. Things have been really getting stirred up over the last couple of months. All right, some sweet aspects and challenging aspects that I listed the dates already, but the other big date I want to talk about is that full moon at 0 degrees of Libra on March 20th. I talked about this in some of the individual reports as well, but this is the 3rd supermoon in a row. And it's the 3rd one at 0 degrees, which is the 1st degree of the sign. So this is denoting major new beginnings, major clean slates, major breakup of old ways. Some of those ways we don't want to leave, and so we could be resisting, but some of it could be welcome change that we've been working for a long time, and just sort of karma clearing up and lots of magic. I really love this full moon, even though it will be intense for better and worse. Full moons are always intense, but this is also a supermoon, and it's also at the that 1st degree. So think about the intensity that we had at the eclipse time around January 21st, and then the full moon in February. Those supermoons tend to bring more emotion and more power to the experience. This is also the spring equinox. This is also the first day of the astrological new year, which is a very exciting time to do a vision board. Also, the new moon in Aries, which will happen in April, is one of the other best times to do a vision board, planting seeds for what you would like to create in your life. But this March 20th time is very, very powerful, very, very powerful. There's also 3 awesome aspects that are occurring simultaneously. Mars in Taurus is trining Pluto, and Mercury in Pisces is making a sweet aspect to Saturn, or maybe that was it. So there's 2 aspects. And those are just adding to the beautiful, powerful nature of this time. So then on March 28th, we have, or the 27th, depending on your time zone, Mercury is going direct. So again, the awkwardness around those dates, to just be extra careful driving, walking, with your communications, your devices, don't drop them in the toilet. This is more likely to happen during these Mercury retrograde cycles where your cars or other vehicles or communication devices need some attention or extra care. Don't text while you're driving. Don't text while you're walking, if you can help it. Oh, one other thing, we started out the month with that challenging aspect with Venus on March 1st, and now we end the month with a sweet aspect with Venus. So sweet surprises in money and love can come with this one. So it's a nice counterbalance to that jolt at the beginning of the month. So if you love how I do astrology and you'd love a live reading, you can go to anniehelpsyou.com, click on Work With Me, and see my astrology coaching section. If you would love to learn astrology because you resonate with how I teach, there may be some slots left in my astrology apprenticeship program. I would love to have you aboard. If you think I go into details in the reports, then you should see the details I go into the astrology apprenticeship program. Definitely check out my new book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days. It has already become an Amazon bestseller, so it's very exciting. So you can either go to radicalprayerbook.com, or you can search for my name and Radical Prayer in Amazon. Also, that should start to be available internationally at different booksellers. You should be able to get that at kind of brick and mortar bookstores as well. So go to anniehelpsyou.com, go to cozybysweetstarlight.com for written horoscopes from me. I also do a write-up talking about different things than I do in the videos that supplement, and if the videos are a little bit intense, the cozybysweetstarlight.com horoscopes are the antidote to that. They're super light, super easy to follow, and give you some different aspects to understand. Okay, so you can go to my husband's website, iamhelios.com, iamhelios.com. He does tarot readings, he also does some astrology readings, and he does visual work with audio-visual work, so you can check out his offerings there. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.